Okay, so guys, we've already graphed vertex form, and that's going one way. Like, we get the equation, we're going to graph it. Today, we're going to be able to find the vertex from a graph, determine that value is if the a value is positive or negative, use the slope of the point 1 unit away from the vertex to determine your a, and then use an additional point on the graph to find a. So you can either do this or this, right? So if you can look at the slope really easy, then you can do that. If not, you can just use an additional point. So what are the steps? First, we're going to find a vertex from the graph. We're going to substitute that vertex because we know the vertex is HK. We're going to use that to build the outside, and we now need A. So we will pick one other point on the graph to substitute in for A, and then solve for A and substitute A back in. And this is our vertex form. This is what it should look like. Now, guys, remember what I just said is this part right here, we can actually just use our parent graph. So we can either use our parent graph or we can pick another point on the graph. So we will be looking at that. Okay. So let's say that we'll do it one way and then the other way. So the first one is we're going to find the vertex. There it is. So this is 3, -5. So this is 3, -5. Let's just pick any point on the graph, and then I'll show you how you could have done a shortcut. So you're not going to pick this point, right? So as you're going along, you're going to pick a nice point, which is right there. There's a good point, okay? And you can pick any point that you want, but please pick a nice point. So this guy is going to be 4, -3. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the x, the y, the h, and the k into our parent graph, our equation. Well, that is vertex form. So here we go. So our y is -3 is equal to, we don't know a yet. Our x is 4. The opposite of our h is -3. Oops, let's just make that black. Squared, and then we're going to be adding our k, which is -5. Woo, okay, that's a lot. So let's go through and make this happen. So -3 is equal to, this is 1, and 1 squared, you guys are going to do this together, right? So 1 squared times a is just a, and then -5, and then you'd add 5, and your a is 2. Okay, so we can rewrite this as y equals 2, x -3 squared -5, because at the end of the day, we just need our opposite of our h, our k, and our a. That's what we need to fill in. Now, let's see how that shortcut would have worked. We would start at our vertex, and we would go over 1, and we would see how many we would have had to go up. 1, 2. So can you see how 2 was my a value? So, I mean, you could do all of this, that's fine, but if you have a graph and you can visualize it, maybe use the shortcut. If you're just given a point, like the worksheet will have times when you're just given the point, then you might want to do the other. Okay, let's do the next one. -2, 3, -2, 3, -2, 3. Okay, now again, we're going to go find that point on the graph so we can slide it wherever we want. But when I'm doing this, whoa, okay, well, nope, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. It's easy until it's not. And when I'm doing this, I see that we have a y-intercept that's pretty nice. So I'm going to use that point. And this point is 0, 1. So that's just the point that I picked. Now let's do a little prediction for our a value related to our shortcut. Okay, let's do a little prediction. If I went over 1, I'd go down, oh no. So this is one of those times when you would want to use the point, right? Because you're not too sure. Or usually when you go over 2, you're going twice as much, right? Ooh. So, well, let's not do that. Let's just use the point. So because when we go over 1, we have just a fraction of a unit, this is a great time to be using our y equals a, our point, right? So here's what we need. Okay, here we go. So we have, here's our x, here's our y, here's our h, and here's our k. So y, which is 1, right, is equal to a, and then we're going to have our x, which is 0, and then we put the opposite of our h in, which is a positive 2, and then our k, which is 3. Oh, cool, we are ready to rock. Now remember, all this goes together, okay? So when we're doing this, we have 1 is equal to 4 times a, and then plus 3. So we subtract 3, and then we have 4a is equal to negative 2. By the way, didn't we already know it was going to be negative because it's going down? So our a is equal to negative 1/2, which makes sense because that isn't a whole number. So we would have y equals negative 1/2, and then x, our opposite of our h, squared plus k. Woohoo! Okay, so our a value here was negative 1/2. So here's our equation for this one. Here's our equation for this one. You guys are rock stars. Okay, have a wonderful day.